Blog Talk Radio.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
Walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the super-states that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
I appeared before the Congressional Committee to tell what I knew of activities which I believe might lead to an attempt to set up a fascist dictatorship.
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. The consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government, which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision the UN standard.
I had planned another closing message, but I feel compelled to say what I'm about to say. Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government.
On the outskirts of the national capital today, black limousines with darkened windows converged on a hotel where private security guards imposed ironclad control. The limos carried royalty, political power brokers, and industrial titans to a secret meeting that will last all weekend. It's known as the Bilderberg Group. Could their objective be world domination?
Money from our treasury is now being spent for this effort. We will have a new currency and a new constitution modeled on the Soviet Union's constitution. Our rights will not be inalienable, but they will be granted by government who can also take them away. This is terrorism of the most worst kind, brought on you by our own government. The strongest, freest nation in the history of mankind
will be averaged into world communism.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order. It is a big idea. A new world order.
A new world is emerging. It is a new world order. The new world order is emerging.
New world order can be created. New world order.
The new world order.
New world order. The new world order.
The new world order.
New world order. New world order. New world order. A new world order.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
Движение в другом направлении, к новому мировому порядку.
I think even that does not describe why the world has changed so much and why the world has turned so much towards a new world order and a new kind of civilization.
France intends to proceed together with all people of goodwill around the world. They battle to build a new world order of the 21st century.
It's about the defeat of Europe and a new world order. A new world order.
The new world order.
New world order.
A new international order.
New global order. President Obama and British Prime Minister Gordon today calling for a new world order.
Is this some sort of a new world order, which Gordon Brown kind of alluded to?
God is setting up a new world order, and his plan includes you.
In an era of globalization, of political interdependence, where the world is ever more swiftly opening up, and the cliché about a global community becomes an economic, political, often social reality. In this new world,
British Prime Minister Brown today declared a new world order is emerging. We want to know what you think, so our poll question is, are you excited that a new world order is emerging, or are you concerned about America's sovereignty?
What is this new world order all about? It is about a reversal of the American Revolution. The American Revolution was a bunch of farm kids and get them working in blacksmith shops and working at other jobs, standing up to the greatest army on earth at places like Lexington and Concord and saying to the whole world that forever, no matter what happens, we Americans will decide here and decide for ourselves our own destiny. The New World Order is the reversal, the overturning of that revolution. That's what the end goal is. America is a rich province, part of their New World Order. But I give you my word, if ever I stand up on that east wing of the Capitol and take my oath as President of the United States, when my hand goes up, their New World Order comes crashing down.
In the near future, Earth is dominated by a powerful world government. Once free nations are slaves to the will of a tiny elite. The dawn of a new dark age is upon mankind. Countries are a thing of the past. Every form of independence is under attack, with the family and even the individual itself nearing extinction. Close to 80% of the Earth's population has been eliminated. The remnants of a once free humanity are forced to live within highly controlled, compact, prison-like cities. Travel is highly restricted. Superhighways connect the megacities and keep the population from entering into unauthorized zones. No human activity is private. AI supercomputers chronicle and categorize every action. A prison planet dominated by a ruthless gang of control freaks whose power can never be challenged. This is the vision of the global elite, their goal. A program of total dehumanization where the science of tyranny is law. A worldwide control grid designed to ensure the overlord's monopoly of power forever. Our species will be condemned to this nightmare future unless the masses are awakened to the New World Order master plan and mobilized to defeat it. Erected by a secretive group, the Georgia Guidestones are a testament to the elite's plan for a world religion, global laws, with a global court and army to enforce it. And set in stone, it is written that the population never rise above 500 million. In this film, you will learn how our world is truly governed. You will see how highly secretive roundtable groups interlock to form a global intelligence network. This group has been steering planetary affairs for hundreds of years. Now, in the final stage, they prepare for open world government. A goal tyrants throughout history have lusted after.
The concept of a new world order has been around for centuries. It's been receiving tremendous play over the last half of the 20th century. George Bush, the first senior president, George Bush, used it a lot in his speeches and really implies that he really wants to see a order in which we have a universal or a global type of governance in which every human being on planet Earth is ultimately responsible for policies that are being formulated at the international level.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It's really always the same. You go back throughout all of history, the Roman Empire, Soviet Union, Hitler during the Nazism was always saying that it's going to create the utopia for the average person, when in fact, history always shows that it does exactly the opposite.
Conquest and empire is as old as civilization. Babylon, Egypt, and Greece. They all built empires in an attempt to rule the world. The Roman system at its peak dominated the known world. Complex governmental systems were developed to control diverse populations. During the period between the 15th and 19th century, new empires emerged and again waged war for supremacy. The nobility, as well as the thriving merchant class, were financed by a handful of private banks. Many of the great money houses would hedge their bets.
All right, we got one more here. Real quick, we stop that, and then let's talk a little bit here. Let's see if we can get this going.
The last stand of implicit white identity.
Wow, it's so beautiful. There's so many white people. Like I said, it's so beautiful.
You guys, there's smoke coming from the key. Something's not right here. Stay on your guard.
You guys, look, it's Jared Taylor.
There you go, son. It will be all over soon enough.
Mr. Taylor?
Dr. Murdoch.
What happened here?
We were infiltrated by shills. We never saw it coming. I hate to see this Wing War take so many fine young men.
Don't worry, Jared. We heard that Halberstram and McFeels will be here soon to reinforce us with their brigade.
Haven't you heard? They were ambushed 2 days ago. No one's heard from them since.
So the map says it should be just right over here.
I don't want any Girl Scout cookies, and I don't want to talk about Jesus.
Hello, my name is Murdoch, and I'm looking for George. Hey, faggot, I didn't cross space and time to be cucked by the likes of you. I'm looking for a guy by the name of George Lincoln Rockwell. You know him?
Well, what exactly do you want from Commander Rockwell?
Depends. Can you help me find him?
I should hope so.
He's me. You're Commander Rockwell? I was told by William Pierce that you could train me in the art of National Socialism.
National Socialism. That dream died before you were born. We had a good shot in the 90s, but McVeigh kind of derailed that now, didn't he? Train you? No, I quit that game long ago.
So what? My generation is just supposed to lay down and die? Just give up?
Give up? It's already over. There's nothing left on which to give up.
But you know what's happening in Europe. We just got Trump elected and said no.
Now scram. Go smoke some dope and masturbate to your shitty Japanese cartoons elsewhere.
So you see, Arthur Donald, it's more than just skin color. The bone structure, the muscle density, a whole host of hormones and neurotransmitters.
Curses! This isn't going fast enough. We have to move on to the JQ. He has to know who's suppressing this stuff.
Will you just drop it with the Jewish stuff? It's counterproductive.
Counterproductive? That sounds like shill speak. How do we know you're not the one who let the infiltrators in?
Murdoch-chan, he's right. That's the last red pill to take. It has to be a gradual process.
We don't have time for gradual processes. We are at war.
You saw what Arthur Donald did to Uspez back there. Do you even understand his potential? He could change the balance of power in this conflict.
That's exactly why we have to unleash him now, while we still stand a chance.
If we don't do this exactly right, we are going to be opening Pandora's box. What happens when that power goes out of control? How long until we purity spiral into our own destruction?
Purity spiraling? What is this faggotry? First you're okay with the existence of Israel, and now you want us to be mudbloods?
I never said that. Purity should be held up as an ideal, but you know how messed up things are anymore.
Well, well, well. I guess you've just made a date with the ovens, Dr. Murdoch.
Not if I give you a helicopter ride first.
Stupid crummy faggot fascist never trained me to fight in stupid fucking race war. Goddamn faggot status niggers everywhere.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm not just gonna give up.
Every 10 years or so, some kid comes along wanting to be the next Adolf Hitler, the next George Lincoln Rockwell, next William L. Pierce. I've got news for you, son. That ship sailed long ago. Maybe someday the world will be ready. Not today.
Don't you get it? If it doesn't happen now, it's not going to happen. I don't care about being the next anybody. I just don't want to see my people wiped out. Don't you understand that?
Of course I understand it. I fought 2 wars for my nation before it was sold to the kikes.
All of my life, all I've ever done is live for my own happiness. Then this war came along and it swallowed me up. It's almost like I wasn't alive until I found something worth dying for. Now you tell me to go home? We don't have a home anymore. I feel like I'm going crazy. Like I'm a fanatic or something.
There's nothing wrong with being a fanatic. Now get some rest.
What for?
Training starts tomorrow. We destroy international finance system. International finance system. I can't hear you, maggot. They said I'd find you in the chapel.
In such troubled times, how can the white man not find time for the divine?
Jared, we're gearing up for a counteroffensive. Can we count on you and your men?
Counteroffensive? No, Dr. Murdoch. I believe I'm done fighting battles.
Look, I know some of our allies rub you the wrong way, but we need every man we can get if we're going to stand a chance against our enemies.
You sound like me when I was your age. But the answer's still no. Your scheme war is a young man's game.
Young man's game. I'm not that young a man myself anymore. I remember when I was at college and first discovered human biodiversity. My professors just laughed it off. But once I had seen it, the world finally made sense. I couldn't unsee it. Their gentle mocking escalated into outright ridicule. They made me into a heretic. threw out my dissertation, and expelled me from the program. I'm not even a real doctor. I was cast out, alone. But then I found your videos. That led me into this wider world. Showed me I wasn't as alone as I thought. It made me realize that seeing the reality of race and being a good person aren't mutually exclusive.
Commander Taylor, Dr. Murdoch, we've got trouble.
So, National Socialism is more a philosophy than anything. I mean, you could have an authoritarian National Socialist Society, a National Socialist Republic. Hey, you could even be a National Socialist Libertarian.
Now, let's not get too carried away. Murdoch, there's no more I can teach you.
But we were just getting into how Lebensraum is no different than Manifest Destiny.
There's little time. War is coming to the European peoples. The old alliance must be reforged.
What do you need me to do, Commander Rockwell?
Go out, seek the Storm Riders. I once mentored their leader, Stephen Crowder. Unfortunately, he purely spiraled into madness. But if he could be brought into the fold, he would prove to be a powerful ally.
Well. Would you look here? If it isn't Murdoch. What does a weebo faggot like yourself want with my riders?
I'm here to remind you of the old alliance.
The alliance is dead. The alliance is dead.
It doesn't have to be. Our people are in danger. We have to work together if we're going to survive.
We don't want their help. We don't need their help. We don't want your help. We don't need your help.
Do you even really care about achieving anything? Or would you rather sit here playing king with these degenerates while the world crumbles around you?
What do you want, weeb? What's your end game?
To teach the world nationalism.
Teach them? Why not burn all things away?
If we can make them understand the truth, we wouldn't have to burn everything down. We could go our own separate ways in peace.
Peace? Murdoch, you naive twat. I'll tell you what. If you can take me in the pit, then the Storm Riders and I shall ride with you.
And if I lose?
You must never masturbate to anime again. Put like a bitch. Don't worry, Murdoch. We'll catch you live. Right after we get your half-truth girlfriend.
Murdoch, what's going on?
Oh, God, you look so stressed. What's wrong with you? You adopted the stereotype our enemy created for us. You cover yourself in tattoos and behave like monsters. You're not monsters. You're men. Men. We can be heroes. We can save the world, not just for our people, but for all people. We can make them understand National Socialism. But you're not National Socialists. You're just LARPing as neo-Nazis. You make a mockery of National Socialism. Fuck you, niggers. I'm out of here.
Shut up. Hey, mate. Listen, me and the boys back there, we like to dance, and, well, sometimes we can get a little carried away. But did you mean what you said back there about us being heroes?
Of course, Stephen Crowder. I mean, one day, they might even have your name in the history books. I can hear it now. Old brave Stephen Crowder sent 1 million Marxists into the ovens.
Stephen Crowder, world hero. Like the sound of that. What does the weebo faggot really have to offer me and my men?
The only thing that you can
take with you to your graves. Glory.
We got up here as soon as we heard. What's going on?
Shia LaBeouf's band of thieves is marching towards the castle.
These castle walls are 4 feet thick. LaBeouf's henchmen are no threat.
If it was only them, you'd be right. But somewhere along their march, they picked up a herd of baby boomer hippies, migrating away from the diversity they left so much. Led by a cancerously narcissistic, washed-up Jewy celeb, it's created some type of perfect storm of SJWs and hippies, hell-bent on destroying Western civilization.
My God, there must be thousands of them.
This is all your fault, Dr. Murdoch. If we would have just bought Are the Dynamite Clumps when it was on sale, none of this would be happening.
My fault? If you 88ers weren't so edgy all the time, maybe you would be more willing to listen.
Do you think the masses ever really get it? They are cattle. They have to be led by an iron fist. You sound like some faggot Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers was a saint.
This whole alt-right business is kikery. Dr. Murdoch, you're a kite.
You're a kite.
No, you're a kite.
No, you're a kite.
No, you're a kite.
No, you're a kite.
No nobis nomine, sed nomine, sed nomine.
All right. That was a good one there. So, anyway, any thoughts on that there? Any thoughts on that? Anybody want to make a comment? I bet nobody understood it at all. They probably heard the one word. They probably heard the N word. Oh, that's it. Oh, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Did anyone understand that opening at all? Do I got any takers, or did everybody fly away because they have to go be entertained? I don't know. I think maybe that's it. If anyone could understand that, then you understood, and you understand the New World Order, and you understand what's really going on. You understand all aspects of how they're sticking it to you, and you won't let them stick it to you no more. You'll stand up, and you'll rise up, and you'll fight back. Chances are, probably, like I always say, I won't get 10 of you to meet for coffee at Burger King because none of you understand. Maybe 1 or 2, if that. I wonder if BTR will work long enough for me to do my show on Sunday. Probably not. Probably go down on Friday. That usually seems like the norm. So, hey, they sent me a message today about wanting to bill my card. I switched to my credit card information. You ain't billing me. Bill me for what? You were down for 4 weeks. What? How many shows did I do? 1? So, no, you ain't billing me. I'm not taking it. No, I'm not paying for something that I didn't get. No way. No way, man. They'll kick me off. They want to kick me off here again? Go right ahead. They kick me off here because they don't like me calling politicians. They kick me off because, that my shows are too popular, and then they got to, censor me. You never see my show getting advertised on Block Talk Radio, So, kiss my ass. All right, 657-383-0616. That little cartoon there, I hope you guys understood that little cartoon that I just played there. So, but I got no takers here for the phone call. I got 4 or 5 people on the phone line. This is the least amount of people I've ever had on the phone line. Least amount, 5 people. Not one person with their hand up. This is unreal. I'm not gonna do a show anymore. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Let's see. I got a response from Madeline yesterday. They are giving me 2 months. Yeah, they're gonna give you 2 months, but 2 months that don't work. Yeah, you're gonna give you to January, but until January you're only gonna get to do 1 show. So something's going on something's going on. I was reading in those comments that I was sending to everybody that I was looking up, and something's going on where they can't the system isn't working right or something. I can't put it technical terms, computer lingo, node crap and all that, where they can't connect the lines or something. They're having problems with this, so that's why they've been having problems. But they're not going to tell you all that, so they're not going to tell you the truth. So everybody's getting ready for the vice president debate tonight. Oh, yeah, man. Meanwhile, next week the grocery store shelves will be empty because of the strike. Does anyone understand how serious the strike is? Do you understand that that there's nothing coming into the United States right now. Nothing. And you know what that means? Most of what we eat and survive off of gets shipped into this country. And it stopped as of midnight last night. So all the food you see on the grocery stores and all the products you see on the shelves, like clothes, like all kinds of stuff, car parts that are very important, engine oil, batteries. Batteries are very important for the wintertime, your car batteries. All of this stuff, it ceased to be shipped into this country at midnight. Now, this happened in 1977, and it happened also in 2002, if anyone knows their history properly, okay? And in 2002, they used something called the Hartley Act, where they can lay down the law and say, no, you have to go back to work for like 80 days, and they make them look at what their agreements and make them sit down and talk. And they come out with it. They can usually come out with an agreement. This happened on the West Coast ports in 2002, George Bush. Now, in 1977, it also happened. And in 1941, they created this Hartley Law. I think that's what it's called, Hartley Law. Does anyone know history here? Does anyone? I got 5 callers on the line here tonight. Could someone press 1? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Because if you don't, then I don't really feel like having class for everybody. I'm not here to teach everybody. But in about 7 to 10 days, you're going to see nothing on the shelves in the groceries. You're going to see you can see about half the supplies. It's going to take about maybe to really unclog the ports, probably about a week, and then after that you'll start seeing the effects on the shelves. So probably 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, it'll be complete devastation. And that's serious stuff, man. That's some serious stuff. What do you think's going to happen? And listen, it's just that now we don't have products anymore. Now cars don't get sold. So Johnny down the street, car salesman, he gets laid off. These other people in the grocery store, they're going to get laid off because they don't need them no more stock shelves because nothing coming in. You're going to have mass people filing unemployment. You're going to have economic upheaval. You're going to have unemployment rate at 30, 40, 50%, like the Great Depression. And it'll put such a strain on the system. You have these illegals running around. They're still coming across the border. They love it, man. You got war in the Middle East brewing. Russia's telling Israel, you got to get out of Lebanon. And so the biblical prophecy may be coming true there because the Red Army's going to come down from the north. Turkey will join up with Russia and Iran, and that's just what the Bible says. So you'll get your million-man march down there to the north, and the Antichrist will step in and get a peace treaty done, and let it really be God that steps in, and everyone will believe it's the Antichrist, and he'll be the man of peace, because we'll be in a world war situation, because the United States is going to help Israel. I mean, this is just a bad situation right now over there, really bad. Russia's really pissed off right now. They just changed their nuclear policy. You know what the nuclear policy was? Now they have a new policy that if any type of long-range missiles are shot at them at all, they have a right to strike back at that country and the people that supplied them with nuclear missiles. That's their new policy. Now, when a country declares that as policy, that's what their soldiers will be told to do if they're hit with long-range missiles, folks. So we could have a nuclear bomb drop on New York City, or a limited nuclear strike, or maybe Ukraine gets hit, or maybe a couple places over there, NATO countries get hit. What do you think will happen? What do you think happens in the Bible? It says something about Damascus or whatever. All the people get killed. So maybe there, and it takes them several months because the bodies are all contaminated, for them to go back in there and move the bodies, the Bible says. There's a lot to it. I played the Last Days clips for you years ago, I remember. I played all that for you, exactly how the book of Revelation plays out. And if you guys missed it, I'm sorry. I played it I think I did that show 3 times in a row. So, it plays out exactly everything that's going to transpire. And the rapture and all that stuff, and, so when everybody disappears, with that saved, which aren't that many people now, and you're left behind, and what are you going to do then? It's hell on earth, man. First 3.5 years, and then the second 3.5 of the tribulation. Oh my goodness. Stephen King said he couldn't write a scarier novel, but we read the book of Revelation 13. Oh my goodness, man. The stuff that happens to planet Earth. And then oh my Lord, it's gonna be hell on earth, man. getting left behind. But, men wrote that book. What the hell do I know, right? It's a joke. I live for me. I'm my own God, right? I got all the answers. All right, so let's see here. So anyway, the vice presidential debate here tonight with, I don't even know their names. What's that guy's name? The one in Minnesota there? I don't even know his name. Does anybody know? Can you put the names in the chat room for the VP people? I don't know. Who are they? Lance or whatever the hell his name is? JP or something? JT? And then what's the guy in Minnesota? I know he's from Minnesota, and he had like 4 late-term abortions or something. Or his wife, I guess he promoted her or something. I don't know. Somebody was telling me that the other day. I don't pay attention to gossip. But I know the guy's a loser. I know he ordered the police to shoot at people during the COVID and get off the front porch. I saw that video. But, yeah, so that's on at 9 o'clock tonight, right? The vice presidential debate there, where I hope that they put on a good show for everybody, we got some big problems going on right now. And this guy, Biden, a real leader should step in and intervene with this strike. This is crazy. This is crazy what's going on. It's total chaos. Has anyone seen like times this bad before where things are like really out of control? Where things are really, really, like rumors and rumors and rumors of wars and rumors of this going around and a revolution. Has anyone ever seen it in their time period? I know the 60s were pretty chaotic, but I wasn't around back then. So, anyway, again, back to that little clip there that I played there, that little cartoon clip there. So, if anyone understood it, again, I put the challenge out there for people to explain it to me what it really meant. Because it had nothing to do with Adolf Hitler, had nothing to do with racism, had nothing to do with any type of that. So it had to do with people coming together and standing up against the international bankers. That's what it was all about. So kind of said that there when they were in training there. So, but anyway, and then, of course, the beginning there, my intro about the New World Order, Pat Buchanan. So if you guys missed that, just to recap for the new people that just called in. But press 1 now because I'm going to start getting ready. If nobody's going to press 1, I'm not going to sit here and talk for an hour. I can't do that. So, so you guys, I don't know where Tave is. Tave usually keeps me going here for a while when he calls in. If not, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up then. I'll wrap up the show. I'll go do something else. Let me see here. Somebody sent me a message here on Facebook. That's something else. Oh, next week I'm going to have a senator from North Carolina. What's his name? Alvin Robinson. That's his name, Alvin Robinson. He's running for Senate here in North Carolina, so I'm going to have him on. He's going to come on. That's what he said to me this morning. He said he's going to come on, so I'm going to interview him, and that should be a pretty good show. And he's running for Senate here in North Carolina, so against Phil Berger. So he's going to be on next week for about an hour from 7 to 8. So it should be a pretty good one. I'm going to have a guest. So if Blog Talk Radio will work and do what they're supposed to do. So I'm going to play something here real quick. Let me check my messages here on Facebook. A couple people messaged me, and then see what they want. Because I think somebody wants me to call them. Play this for about 3 minutes. Anybody else, press 1. If not, I'm going to be hanging up here. All right, play this here real quick. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Let's talk to Will in Arizona. Thanks for holding her on the air.
First off, I am a Prison TV Planet member.
Awesome, brother. Go ahead and into your points, and I'll hold you over if need be.
If you really want to have an unbridged idea of what is going on today, look at it's actually a YouTube video, but it's a documentary. Adolf Hitler, the greatest story never told. He actually kicked out a lot of the bankers because they were trying to implode Germany after World War I. And it was the bankers. And when I was watching that, it was 5 hours long, and I started listening and saying to myself, wait a minute, they are just repeating history, but because we are so dumbed down in the sense of our historical knowledge.
Well, I haven't seen the documentary you're talking about, but people can, I guess, check it out for themselves.
The very well-made, excellent, and moving documentary called Adolf Hitler, The Greatest Story Never Told. I want you to do something for me as well, and I would really appreciate it. Before you listen to this interview, I want you to watch the documentary. I know you want to listen to this program right away, but if you haven't already seen it, I want you to stop this program right now and go watch the documentary first. And I'm adamant about watching the documentary because one of the biggest hurdles that the majority of people seem to have, they're basically just kind of set in their ways, and they argue that they already know everything that they need to know concerning this topic. Well, I can promise you, people, you don't know 1/10 of it.
I seriously had a panic attack after I watched that documentary, The Greatest Story Never Told. And for days afterward, I was really shook up. It had such a profound impact on me, and everything started making so much sense, and I felt so... I mean, I've always felt kind of betrayed by the powers that be, but I felt more betrayed than ever. And I started looking back on my entire life, and looking back at all the movies that I'd seen.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought if they could pull off this, then anything is possible. Anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that one, you know, I would encourage anybody watching this or listening to this to watch that hasn't seen that documentary to watch it and go back
with an open mind.
And listen to that interview that you did with Dennis Wise recently.
But that's most likely what got us censored from iTunes, by the way, too, that show.
Yeah, well...
That shows what we're not allowed to talk about. It's just off limits, you know?
And that's what, when I was going through that sort of panic attack realization, that was it. That was the big red flag. I was like, oh my God, like of course we're not being told the truth because we're not allowed to talk about this issue. When you're not allowed to talk about something, then that's like the red flag right there. If it's off limits, then that's the thing you need to talk about the most.
And the rule to remember is that history is written by the winner.
I can promise you, people, you don't know 1/10 of it.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me get back to the board here. All right. I got two people with their hand up here, so I'll go to the first private caller here. All right. Here you go. Who's this? Is this Sarge, maybe?
Sure enough is.
Good.
Transition.
All right. I didn't want to talk to myself for an hour, so what's up? What's on your mind? I have another guy who got his hand up, too, so I'll get to you in a minute there, buddy. I don't know who this is.
Well, you can get to the other person if you want to, because I'm just kind of formulating my thoughts here.
He just put his hand down.
Oh, well, never mind.
949 number. So, yeah, I don't know who that is, so it could be a crank caller. But go ahead, dear Sarge.
All right, well, look, I know that things look pretty bad in the Middle East, and yes, it's clear that this war is widening. After all, the IDF has just undergone what they are characterizing as a limited incursion into Lebanon. So the war is clearly widening and expanding. But look, Iran has made a kind of curious statement. They said nothing will go further if Israel doesn't retaliate against Iran for launching missiles at them. Now I'm thinking to myself, what the hell kind of a hedging statement is that? Do they expect Israel not to retaliate against them for launching missiles, or are they saying, oh no, we just wanted to make a show of force as we had to defend our clients, Hezbollah, who have launched 9,000 missiles into Israel since October 7th. 9,000!
Yeah, I know.
9,000!
What's the country supposed to do?
I don't know what they would expect any sovereign country to do.
What would America do, Sarge? What would America do, Sarge, if that happened to us?
Any sovereign country that didn't take appropriate action after that sort of thing is not worthy of being called a sovereign country. That's all I know. I'm saying any country. I don't care what country in the world it is. And let me just say another thing here about that. You know, I mean, Israel launched probably the most targeted retaliation you can imagine. They didn't launch big missiles with big payloads and huge warheads back at Hezbollah. They put less than an ounce, a few grams of explosive in pagers. And then they sent them out deliberately targeting those who were members of Hezbollah who were going to receive the pagers. I cannot imagine a more targeted strike against your enemy than that. I mean, they didn't send over big waves of bombers and surface-to-surface missiles and air-launched missiles. They sent a few grams of explosives in pagers. Not 9,000 missiles.
I know. And
then these crazy people in the UN.
It's your state, Sarge. Your state got hit with, just say,
Look, you don't have to. You know what I'm gonna say. If anybody hits the United States like that for any reason, I don't care what their reason is. You know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't care what their. I don't care if it's even justified. I know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, let's see who this private caller is, Sarge.
But look, man.
See who this is. Look, go ahead. Yeah, no, continue on, Sarge. Go ahead.
Yeah, but just one other thing I want to say here, man. Look. Okay, what's done is done. I guess the die seems to be cast. Like I said, it sounds to me like the Iranians know that their little clients have gotten out of hand, Hezbollah, and now they're saying and then they try to save face by doing the strike against Israel and say, well, look, we'll leave the door open for the status quo ante if you just don't retaliate against us again. That's crazy. I don't know what
the hell's Russia involved in?
What's
Russia? Why is Russia telling them they have to get out of Lebanon? Why? What concern is Lebanon to Russia? Why are they involved in Israel's business there?
Iran. They want closer alliances with Iran.
No, they said, well, it doesn't. But they said because they're in Russia. In Lebanon. Russia said Israel needs to get their troops out of Lebanon. They need to back up. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. Screw Russia.
They can say anything they want until they can say it. I'm sure they can say it. I'm sure, given their druthers, they would rather have Israel out of Lebanon. But until they start issuing some kind of ultimatum or threat, I wouldn't worry about it if I was the Israelis. I just do what I intend to do. You got to remember. Have we not forgotten that Hezbollah and Hamas are. Look, UNRWA, UNRWA, the United Nations Welfare Relief Agency, refugee agency, they had people who were working with Hamas. They got caught. The UN got caught covering for them. Okay, let's not forget that. The UN got caught covering for 8 people who were ranking members of UNRWA, and they were working with Hamas and the people who plotted October 7th. And they got caught. And now the UN sails the high horse saying, wait a minute, now remember, they are officially classified as terrorists even by the UN. Even the UN says Hamas and Hezbollah are terrorists.
Going on.
Huh? Yeah, so look, they say that Hamas and Hezbollah are terrorists. And here they got members of their agency cooperating with terrorists. They get caught as terrorists. And then they're going to say that what Israel did with targeting people with a few grams of explosives and pagers is a war crime. Man, help me make sense of that. Help me make sense of that, will you?
I can't. Private caller. Who's this private caller? I've been trying to get to you here now. Who's this?
It's your favorite American Nazi.
Uh-oh.
Listen,
so who is it?
Let's turn the whole goddamn place over there into a pile of glass. I wouldn't give a shit. I am sick to my stomach watching what's going on. See what's going on in this country.
It's going to spread. It's going to spread though to the United States though, and we don't want that because we have treaties with Israel. We have a treaty. We have if we have a treaty with a country, we have to stand by it.
No, 22 agreements with them. 22, Joe. 22.
Yeah.
They haven't set right what they did to the Liberty, so fuck them. They are owed nothing.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. But but still, we have to go by. We have to obey our international agreements, though.
Joe, no,
we have to, as a matter of policy.
The republic that we want to restore, the people that we would put in office now, no, we don't. We're starting fresh and clean. Fresh and clean.
We still have to withdraw from them, Cave. We still have to withdraw from them properly. Cave, there's a procedure that has to be done, though.
They're the size of Texas. Withdraw. I'd walk out of there with my pants down. Come on, boys. To hell with them. To hell with them. Screw everybody over all the time.
Cave,
it's time we start doing
Cave, hang on. Cave, let me ask you this, though. Okay, now so you're saying that we shouldn't have any agreements with anybody around the world at all, right?
I'm not saying I have agreements with them, but we can't send them money like we do when we have our own problems to fix.
I agree.
We just can't.
Agree,
we can't fund them and support them. You know how much money we've sent them since 1948? $370 billion. Tell me what they have
800.
over there.
I don't know how much it was. I don't know how much it is, but I can look it up.
$370 billion.
I think we sent India more money, though. We sent India more money than
Israel. It doesn't make any difference. What in the hell do they have over there that they could show for it before all the bombing? What have they done with all that money? Apparently the weapons they have aren't good enough to stop guys in hang gliders and paper airplanes from dropping shit on them. So that's don't tell me the Army's the elite of the elite, because that's a bunch of crap.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's go along with what you're saying now. Okay, no, I'm agree with you. Okay, now let's do this. Let's allow all those countries
to have
just
some type of
hang on.
Some treaties like as far as being peaceful. Yes, I believe that.
Okay,
but they can't expect us to come out of the gate brand new and have to pay stuff. And we're trying to sit straight and get rid of the corrupt ones we're in there. Because the same ones, the corrupt ones that we're dealing with are the same group of people, basically, that sit down at the same table at the end of the night over there. It's a whole world. It's not just America. It's the worldwide show. Every government
but what if we let Russia, though? But Dave, we're in a war basically with China and Russia, really. Economic war, whatever you want to call it.
I don't believe we are one bit. I don't believe we are one bit. Not one bit.
Oh, a trading war? A trading war? Oh, yeah.
A trading
war, yeah.
Economically, yes, but we're not in a kinetic war with these people like everybody wants to think. Well, we're going to go to war with China and drop the bomb.
Yet.
They're not going to drop no bomb.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Sarge, let's ask Sarge, Dave. Well, how do we? What do we do about the agreements we have with all these countries? What do you think about what Dave just said?
Oh, well, I think he's got a point in one sense. And let me give you a historical example of when a country has agreements with another one, but a situation gets so dire, they kind of abrogate it. That's why the French are still pissed at the British to this day for when they got the hell out of the continent at Dunkirk. Now, they had an agreement that they were going to do against the Germans.
Exactly.
But Churchill saw the writing on the wall, and he knew it was not in the interest of the British. They were going to lose their army. Their army was going to be encircled and captured or wiped out or both. And he knew the only threat of keeping Britain in the war against Germany was to successfully evacuate those troops that were in that pocket at Dunkirk. So they literally kind of sold out the French to get them out. Now, they took some of the French out, too. They took about 50,000 or so French troops out as well. But for the most part, they let the French sacrifice themselves in rearguard actions to enable the evacuation in Dunkirk. And that was a calculation that the British government made because they were in a dire circumstance and it was not in their national security interest to continue to keep up their agreement with the French. Now, look, we got our armed forces now are in a god-awful, horrible-ass state. We ain't got no business going nowhere, trying to get no fight, especially on the ground, against anybody in the world today or far away from our shores. This is crazy.
Especially with our own weapons that we've given them.
No, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, but
I agree.
I'm saying, look, here's the thing. Yeah, we got these agreements, and unfortunately, we're going to have to honor them if we're going to have any integrity as a nation. You're just stuck with it. But that doesn't mean we have to commit national suicide to do so.
Well, that's where my point being. I can see trying to do it to a point, but you know what, then, Sarge? Let's talk about all the money these bastards never paid into the United Nations or into NATO. All these people that paid 1.5%, and they don't even take that time, you know. And that was one thing that I will give Trump that he brought forward and made everybody realize these other countries don't pay shit. We do, and the American people are dumb enough to keep putting these bastards in office and letting this whole shit show run like it does. And it's going to be another 4 years of them trying to drain our pockets while they try to align themselves with the Khazarian Jews, whatever you want to call them. I don't care what you call them. They're a cult that want to do nothing but rob us of our money and have us put in the dirt.
Well, you know, I got to agree with you. I got to agree with you that, you know, look, I think that we got to honor our agreements. At the same time, we didn't got to commit suicide. And I think the first priority has got to be what's in the best interest of the United States ultimately.
Yeah.
That's got everything else got to take a back seat to that, even international agreements. And I am not saying we can turn our back on our international agreements. I'm not saying that either. But I'm saying if it comes down to national survival, The United States and our survivors got to come first.
And let's talk about money we send to places that haven't done anything. Here we are sending our National Guard troops out of this country from a state that just got wiped out by a storm, and they send all of them over there. How can that be possible? I have yet to see any country offer any help, people, supplies to this country when we have storm after storm with the coastline, or 9/11. Nobody does. Yet we're expected to go across the board and do what we do, pay the money we pay. That's because everybody's cucked to them, and they know that we're going to do it. Because if we don't, they have that fear factor over our heads. They're going to lock our asses up if we don't. Take stuff away from. What is Israel going to do if we decide to tell them to go pound salt? They're going to go pound salt. What are they going to do? Come over here and take something from us? We don't have it to give to you right now. We are at the bottom of the barrel, people, and it's because of the people running your country, our country, and every other country that has involved itself with a dollar bill to this day. As long as that dollar bill continues to be in hands of these governments, we are screwed.
Well, another part of the problem is the administration that's presently running this country is definitely not making the situation any better because they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They got to placate the radical lunatic fringe wing of their own party that hates Israel. To the extent of everything else, to the extent of even simple logic. And then on the other hand, they got to say, well, they don't want to alienate another politically important to them branch of their party as well. Speaking out of both sides of your mouth doesn't help anybody. You're in the middle of the road, you get your ass run over. I'll tell you one thing. If Trump was the president, he would not be talking out of both sides of his mouth.
By no accidents are happening right now with this election coming up, so that they can play both sides. Because I just watched that little faggot that plays the piano with his pecker, that Zelensky queer, stand with Donald Trump and give an interview saying that, and Trump's looking at him, and I'm no fan of Trump, but this guy's playing both sides of the fence to see what he's going to get from Harris.
Oh, yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, he
that
is.
That guy shouldn't be allowed in the country. If he's go over to your own country where you're at war, you jackass. Go where your people are at. God, is that so annoying?
Well, look, if you've been following the military situation in Ukraine, and I'm telling you, the Ukrainian army's on the verge of collapse. They really are. It's really bad for them.
Oh, really? Is that bad?
It is that bad. And I'm telling you, he might figure he's over here now. Well, at least if we collapse in the next few weeks, I got a place to stay because I'm here already. I ain't got to worry about fleeing the country.
Yep, that's right. They are running a full-blown meat grinder and blender. They have gone through everything they can go through, Joe, and they are begging. Not only are they begging for people, they're actually going out into the streets and kidnapping. They're taking people.
Oh, for a while they've been doing that.
And
they've been, you know what? They've been inflating the Russian losses. Yeah, the Russians are losing the armored vehicles and whatnot, but they have now developed a very efficient recovery system, and they're able to go on the battlefield and get those vehicles back and refurbish them and get them back in the battle. They're not completely destroyed for the most part. Most of them that they even knock out, and the crews have to get out and abandon them. They got a recovery system, go back and pull it back. They've captured a lot of Ukrainian armor. I saw one video where, they were almost on the line of contact, and a recovery vehicle crew came in. I couldn't believe this, because I used to be a tank commander. I know what work this is. They came in there, and they removed the turret off of a disabled tank and put on a replacement turret. This is the kind of thing you do at depot level. You take the tank back to the depot, and you have it. They did it right there on the line of contact. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. With tank retrievers and winches and hoists. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A T-72M, they took a T-72M and they replaced the turret. Now, they have developed a very efficient recovery system. They are overinflating the Russian losses, particularly in armored and vehicles, and they're underestimating the number of Ukrainian vehicles that are also the same ones the Russians use. They're capturing a lot of their vehicles and they're putting them in a Russian service.
How many of those losses that the Russians suffering are by the hands of Blackwater, or for guys that are over there doing the ops with American help. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't no way that Ukraine could have stayed in this war as bad as they're getting ground up.
And let me tell you another thing that the Russians have done that's very efficient, the way their units are fighting now. They may have disbanded Wagner, the private military contractor, Wagner PNC, but they took the best of Wagner, and believe me, the better Wagner troops were among the best in the world. I'm talking about shock infantry. They were some of the best shock infantry in the world. I'm not talking about special operations. I'm talking about shock infantry. And they took many of those guys who were in Wagner, and they are now distributing that knowledge throughout the Russian battalion task groups. They've also broken up, found a new way to fight because of all the drones. They're sending troops in on motorcycles like cavalry is replacing, like dragoons. And they infiltrate the small groups, and then they come together and mass on the objective and attack. It's really a brilliant adaptation of their tactics. They're not using human wave meat grinder things anymore. The Russians are learning how to fight this new kind of war. And everybody's going along with this like they're still fighting the way they did when they first came on the border back in 2022. They're like anybody else. They were like World War II the same way. They had these catastrophic losses nobody's ever seen in the history of mankind before. They're blockheads, but eventually it gets through their blockheadedness, and they got enough people with enough sense and military ability to change the way they fight. And they're doing it now, and it's working for them. They're doing bite and hold strategy. Look what they did at Bakhmut. Look what they did at Avdiivka. Look what they did at Vuhledar. Look at what they're doing. I'm telling you, we are witnessing a revolution in battlefield tactics, and the Russians are leading the way.
Yeah.
Hey, make no doubt about it. They're not going to stop that. They're going to go spend $1,000 on a drone that they could probably get for $50 at Walmart and equip it and destroy it. Why lose a life? That's ignorant. That's not the way you fight a war. You got to be, kinetically, you got to be technically equal, up in the game, up in the time. It's not. You can't be like a Palestinians running around over there with sticks and stones, getting hands-on fighting the damn the guys we fund. The Israel's with all our guns and money we give them over there, but yet these guys are holding them off with sticks and slingshots.
Yeah, but you got to admit though, that Patriot thing was inspired. I mean, I have never seen an operation like that come off that successfully. I mean, you got to admit, man, that was a coup. That was something brilliant.
And there ain't no doubt, Sarge, that if Putin wanted to have ended this shit show, day two, it would be over, because he would have went through there and killed everybody with the power that they have. He's gone through each one of these areas and specifically tried to chase down the ones that are opposing him. They're the ones that hide. They want to talk about the Hamas and all these Hezbollah over here. Look who's hiding behind the people in the Ukraine. These sons of bitches are straight up cowards. But that's a way to fight, and they are successful at it because they've got it to go this long and drawn out. Now, we have an election coming up. Everybody's going to bitch and complain. Well, I don't want to vote Trump. I don't care who you vote for, because it doesn't much matter anyway. The thing is, they have got this theater in place where they're running this show, and they are doing nothing but shopping. They're shopping for the next, who's got the better deal. And if people don't see that and hold these bastards accountable in this country, we'll never make it. We'll never make it if this doesn't change. This election, by the end of this term coming, if people aren't held accountable, they never, ever will be. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's going to get worse.
Well, my concern is one of two things: that we don't get involved on either side, particularly on the ground in that war over there or in Eastern Europe. I don't want to see American troops over there, no matter what. And I think the best thing we can hope for right now is to prevent it from widening, maybe getting involved in maybe nuclear exchange of some kind. And I think the only guy that's going to be seen as having the ability to do it, and I don't know if he can do it, but the only guy who's going to be seen as having the ability to do it on our political stage is Donald Trump. Right. That's it. We're going to have to hope for the best. If he can't do it, well, we've got to accept the fact that we're going to get involved in a worldwide conflagration, because this administration is stumbling us down the road to hell.
I'm sitting watching that. There's all this shit's going on with all these deals and this talking. They're talking to Trump and they're talking to Harris. They're not even in charge of the country. The president that we supposedly have, Mr. Poopy Pants or Potato Head, he's nowhere to be found. Has he stepped down? Who's running the show? Because apparently the guy that claims that he's supposed to be, I hear these sidebar action things going on, and they're saying, well, he's not available right now, or he won't do a press conference. He won't run the country, then throw his ass out. It ain't, if it's the last day of his term and he's not doing his job, 86, the son of a bitch.
You know what, though? I think, and I was thinking that, October surprise would be Joe Biden's going to make Kamala Harris president of the United States by resigning. And I was thinking that for a long time. But look, everything is going to hell for this administration. Everything. If they put her at the helm this late in the game with everything going through a shit show, then she's going to be tagged with that failure, no matter what. Even though she's only in office for 4 months, still she's going to be tagged with the failure of it all because she's definitely already linked to it as it is. And then if she presides as president, I think the strategy now is just keep him in office. Everything. If there's going to be a failure, it's going to be on Joe Biden, and then the Democrats figure that maybe they can come back with her in 2028. Maybe they'll let her be president for a week. And then okay, we got the incumbent president coming in. Yeah, she come back and run in 2028 as a former president of the United States.
That's gonna be the new borders are. Oh wait, was I that already? Oh,
yeah. Right. Yeah. So
this
right now I think
winding down to what's happening this past 4 years. They got lucky with him staying alive from not just being so old and actually probably stroking out or having a heart attack at his age. I don't wish that on nobody, but they got to keep him in place to keep her to save face for her through this process because they didn't have somebody else they wanted to put in. They want the woman. They want to hurt. She's not even black. We know that, but they want that look. So they're now because everything can fall on Biden's shoulders because he's made it through. She is going to get the fresh start. They won't even talk about the border crisis that's happened and all the people that are here and all the deaths that this has caused. On her watch was her job. If she was to win, it won't even get brought up or her held accountable or feet to the fire for it because she gets a fresh start. Because he lived and made it through to the next term. That's unreal. No accountability whatsoever for the crimes committed against this country, and they should all be. We should have ourselves a nice long row of dancing toes, is what I'm saying.
No, I swear to God, man. You see the 8 illegal aliens that they caught in I think it was Tennessee. 8 of them were looting and breaking into houses in Tennessee. 8 of them.
8.
All of them paroled into the United States by the Biden administration.
It's so bad. In my city here, Sanctuary City, it's so bad. I just had city council meeting yesterday, and I got tossed out of council meeting, and I told them, I'm never coming back down here again. I pay my taxes, and I said I should have never done that. I gave you bastards the benefit of the doubt, and here's what's going to happen. I said, you all are going to be held accountable if it's in this lifetime or another. I said, go strut your shit. Do what you're going to do now. Run it up. Muck it up. Do everything you got to do because one day you're going to pay for it. And that's I don't care. There's not people this evil to do stuff to everybody in this country the way it's been done. To neglect the people that have gave their lives for our freedom and what we have, to just literally piss on their grave and think it's okay, and that's how it's going to be. I got news for you. No, it ain't. In this life or another. It's sad. It's sad.
It's worse. The worst I've ever seen. I've never seen a political season like this in my life.
If the people that died at war knowing that this was going to happen, I'll bet you $1 million they would have never signed up to go to fight for it because if they knew it was going to be given to these people that have no accountability, they don't have any self-dignity, they have no morals, and people always say, we got to accept these migrants. Okay, yeah, we can do that to a point to where it becomes a problem for ourselves and no, we got to shut it down. But these dumbass people don't realize that in these sanctuary cities like I'm dealing with, You're accepting in this country people that have, where they're from, no civility. They don't have a structure of law like we do, where we have street signs, or we obey speed limits, or we don't steal, or we don't run around with machetes chopping off hands. That's what they're doing. They've let these people come here and just go full blast, and then turn them loose after they catch them if they have a problem. Turn them loose! So it gives them the idea that it's okay to do it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, man. We got troops over there in both the Middle East and in Ukraine who are fighting somewhere. They're there. Just like those Soviet pilots that we didn't know about until relatively recently. They had 2 air regiments of Soviet pilots actively engaged in aerial combat with our pilots in Korea and Meg Alley. And the ones who were Russian had a pretty much even exchange in terms of shoot downs between American pilots and Russian pilots. And it was full all out. They just wouldn't let them go past a certain boundary because they didn't want them to get shot down and get captured and be revealed as Russian pilots. But other than that, they were in active. We're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing right now in the Middle East and in Ukraine. The only question is, how much is this going to expand?
Right. I mean, every government that deals with the American dollar has been corrupted at every level. Every level. And I mean, you want to get rid of the Fed? Yeah, we do. But what do we put in place? Because I can tell you right now that I've already heard about the BRIC stuff going on over there, that the same people that are behind what we're doing and what's going on is behind the scenes set up to run the same shit over there. It ain't going to change. They're just changing venue. That's all they're doing. Putting a new face on it and a paint job.
Question with me is always going to be, what's in the best interest of the United States? And right now, I don't see no interest in getting involved in either of those conflicts if we can avoid it, other than what we're legally bound to do by agreement. And right now, that's not necessarily. Israel's doing okay right now. They're not in any danger. They're doing okay. They seem to be wrapping up the situation in Gaza and Rafah, and they ain't in no trouble right now in Lebanon. Let them do what they're going to do. We don't need to commit any troops over there to give them any aid. Not as I can see right now. No way.
No. You know, they've been fighting.
Let them get out the way and let them get it over with.
They've been fighting for 3,000 years over there. We're not going to put anything in the way of them except cause problems for ourselves to try and intervene in that. It's going to run its course.
And
it's going to run its course.
We're just going to make more problems. We didn't solve anything in Iraq. We didn't solve anything in Afghanistan.
Yep.
We didn't solve anything in these interventions except that we can make our treasury weaker, make our people more dependent on global interaction and systems, and we get nothing out of it whatsoever except more chaos, more distrust, and more cynicism at home. It's stupid.
You know,
it's just stupid.
Before the Abrahamic religions were brought in, Israel and Iran, that area, the people out there coexisted. They assimilated. I'm sure they probably had their differences, but it was nothing like this. But now that you have that going on, there's talk that actually what we're seeing is both of them working together because they know that we over here.
Hey, 386, you want to come on? Press 1.
Are going to suck us dry. You know, they're going to do we're against them, they're against us, because from the time I can remember hearing about Iran on the news when I was a kid till now, there's always been a nuclear threat. Iran, always the bad. Always the bad. But you know what? They've sat back and now. When's the last time they were actually declared war? I don't think it's been, but maybe, I don't know. It's been a while.
Okay. Last time we declared war was December 7th, 1941. We ain't declared war since then.
Hey, Cave, I played that little cartoon earlier.
That cartoon?
That you sent me.
Oh, yeah.
When you sent me on Facebook.
Nice. So what do we? I mean, what do we do? We got politicians in our own country where I have the National Guard getting shipped out of here across the sea. They have a complete. Did you see the alligator alley, the river that was full of the alligators down? I think it was in, Tennessee. You would not believe what you see. There has to be 10,000 alligators.
No way.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yes, I'll send it to you. There's a guy who was a woman, and I think they might have 2 kids in this boat. They're going down this over-flooded part of the river, wherever they're at. It looks like logs until you see them start fighting at each other, and they start turning and flipping around. It is unbelievable.
Really?
I thought it was a movie in the Amazon or something.
Where is this again?
I gotta look. I can't remember if it's North. It ain't North Carolina. I think it might be Tennessee or Georgia, maybe. I can't remember. I'm gonna find out right now. I'm looking.
Yeah. Well, their natural habitats have been disrupted by this hurricane and the flooding.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna see them where you don't usually see them.
And then the snakes get into the environment like they did at the down in the Everglades, where you had a changing of the food
They'll
chain.
be floating around here at my house then.
There were snakes down there. There's pictures of helicopters that were eating the alligators. The snake was actually the boas, because or the anacondas. That's not their indigenous area. They were brought in as exotic pets, but then when storms come through, people take off and they think they're going to go back home and get their pets. Shit, they bust on their clams and they're loose. They go out in the Everglades and breed like rabbits. We got a problem down there with anacondas. A big problem.
Yep, they got people out there making big bank out there hunting them things, and because they're considered vermin, and they're trying to get rid of them.
There's a guy I saw a show the other day. He goes, we've got such a problem with these snakes. They've gotten so big that they can actually open their mouth and put in a 8-foot alligator. They eat it, but the alligator's feet can, because it's clawed, can push the sides of the snake out and it rips through it.
Yeah.
But they show it engulfed already, so that you have a changing of the guard there. He goes, we need the snakes to eat the wild hogs. The hogs down there in the south are worse than the
I know. I've been hunting them almost as I've been down here. I know how bad the problem is, especially in southwest Georgia. It's really bad.
Man, can they tear up some property?
Man, do they ever? It looked like cluster bombs going off when you get a sounder of hogs in one of those soybean fields or peanut fields.
Yep.
I mean, they just
literally looks like somebody ran a bulldozer, about maybe a 4-foot wide bulldozer in places when there's 6 or 7 of them going, and just go drive all over the place like they ain't nobody's business.
And they are nasty, and they are smart, and they are vicious when you get them cornered. You better not get them cornered unless you got a 12-gauge shotgun with slugs loaded to take them out when they start charging you at close range. And I'm thinking they can be deadly if you're not careful.
Hey, Sarge, there's a guy that's got a Hummer down there, and there's 3 guys that go out, and they post on their video. Each time they go out, they show which gun each one of them's going to use. And it's at nighttime, so they're all lasered up. So you can see it clear as day through their night vision and stuff. This guy, he's got a big tarp over his, and his buddies are looking at him. He goes, what's under the tarp? He goes, you'll see. So they start driving this H2, and this son of a bitch has got a buzzsaw on top of that H2. One of them, they call it the saw. It's a mini helicopter. Yeah. It's the one that's on the front of the Apache, but it's handheld. Man, there's hogs flying all over the place. Looks like it was going through a blender.
I know. Yeah, I think I've seen that guy. I think the guy's in Texas. I think he's in Texas.
Things are just
and they use Class 3 weapons to go hunting hogs. I've seen them, man. They be taking them down, and they take like dozens of them a night, 60, 70, 80, 90. I mean, these guys are really doing a number on them, trying to cut their numbers. And you know what? All that hunting and all that harvesting of hogs, and they're barely keeping pace with the birth rate.
That's right.
So a female sow can have 3 litters a year.
Yes. It's crazy how fast they can breed.
Man, and I'm telling you, I hate to think of how bad the numbers would be if there weren't so many people out there hunting them down. They're barely keeping the population number stable.
There was a guy driving down I-95, and he was headed to Florida, and he had a open trailer on behind his SUV. He had a big Tahoe, and Florida State Trooper stopped him, and he knew he was speeding. I think he was probably going like 90, but that's not why he stopped him, because the people that he was passing, somebody called up to him and looked. He goes in and gets pit bulls from the pounds and sends them dogs out after them hogs where he's from. So he'll go get 5 dogs, come back, and the dogs won't come back. They get killed. So he had 1 dog left, and he put the chain, the collar, and the dog should have been inside the little like a cage you keep the dog in your house or whatever. He has that on the front of his trailer, and the dog must have got the door open, and it was sitting on top of his cage. This guy's going 100 miles an hour. And then people are scared to death the dog's going to fall. Because if the dog would have fell off the side of the top of the cage, it would have hung itself. So these people are freaking out. This guy's going to go to jail for that because of for animal cruelty that he did. Because he was speeding, he was an asshole to the cop. And they said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Then we're just going to let PETA deal with you.
Well, I haven't been hunting in a while, but the last time I did, we were using dogs. And you're not supposed to let the dogs go after unless it's just one hog. You don't let them go out there and get a sounder because, there's too many hogs in the sounder. They will get killed. You're supposed to keep your dog within sight and have them trained so they'll stay within sight flying so they can corner the hog, and usually they can you train them to grab because they can't turn around too good. You grab by the hind legs, they can't turn. The way you see the way their necks are made, they cannot turn to bite or anything. You got them. And they train the dogs to grab them and keep them like that until you can get up there and you can kill them.
Yep. And they got vests that the dogs will wear so that them hogs can't spear them and bite them, like around their – it looks like a bulletproof vest for a dog. But that guy said, he goes, I can go buy 5 dogs from the pound and I pay for their shots. He goes, I do everything legally. He goes, I get these dogs and I'll pay $500. So he walks out of there, but the property that he makes a deal with or contracts with, he'll get $10,000 to clear that land. And he said, I'll have to go spend $2,000 on dogs, and then the rest will shoot. He goes, but none of the dogs usually make it. And the guy says, well, how long you been doing this? He goes, about 5 years. He goes, well, how often do you clear a property? He goes, well, depending on the property. He goes, but it takes us about 10 acres. He goes, it takes us 2 days. How many?
Yeah, I know.
What is it? Are you shitting me? I'd go buy a helicopter. I'd gun them all down.
Yeah, well, helicopter maintenance is pretty expensive, man, even for small ones.
No, we could get paragliders or whatever and things. Ultralight.
Ultralight. Yeah, that may be better. But you got to remember though, you need an ultralight glider. It takes both hands to run an ultralight. You got to have another hand to shoot. Now you got to mount a fixed machine gun on it or something like you have like with a World War I plane. So you don't have to aim it. You just aim the whole glider.
Or you got to have a Rio.
Or you got to have a real gunner, but then that's more weight. Ultralight can't take too much weight now and get up in the air.
I'd just throw hand grenades at them.
Because then it won't be an ultralight. It'd be a plane you got to have a license for.
Oh man! Wait, you know what? I'd never thought about it till just now. Why don't they use drones? Well, I know they can arm. You see what they're doing with them overseas.
I think that's illegal in the United States.
Well,
I don't think you can arm a drone in the United States and send it up like no. I don't think that would be legal. No,
I did see
I think you'd be running afoul of FAA and a whole bunch of federal laws if you did that.
Yep. So in order to use a gun on one, you'd have to have one of them. You have to register with the FAA because it has to be heavy enough to carry the weapon itself and be able to fly.
Yeah, be able to fly like ultralights. Now you can do it. I mean, obviously we know how to put guns on aircraft, but the problem is, I don't think that's allowed unless, it goes through what do they call that? I forget what they call it.
It is down there, right? We both know that it is absolutely treacherous. If you live on that property and those hogs are coming, you had better not let your dog and cats out or your kids. You better stay in the house until they're either gone or dead. Why don't state legislation pick up something where they say, hey, you know what, we need to get involved with have the National Guard do the drone thing and get this under control through the, Fish and Game.
Man, I'll tell you right now, I think it'd be outstanding training for the National Guard to be sent out in the backwoods here in Georgia and go hunting hogs. It'd be great target practice for them and everything. They really ought to take it, and they do us the state a favor by lowering food costs by getting rid of these hogs. Hogs do billions of dollars worth of damage to crops a year.
Oh,
I think it'd be great training to periodically send National Guard units out into the woods to go hunt these damn hogs.
People up here don't have any idea even what we're talking about, because it would be like taking a shovel outside in your front yard, and if you start at 8 o'clock in the morning and you just go up and down your driveway in your yard, say about a 25, let's say a 30-foot area by 20 foot. Let's call it 30 by 30, make it square, and just take that spade, stick it in, turn it out. Just don't know. It doesn't have to be uniform. Just stick it in and throw a shovel through it. Stick it all over in that area, and that's what it looks like when they're done.
Yeah. Plus, they're smart. I mean, they really are smart. They're smarter than dogs, probably.
They'll eat you. If a human starts eating by them, they'll eat everything about you. The bones and all get crushed.
Everything. And they learn quick. They're very wary. They can pass on their information to others, and they're very social. So, that's why it's so hard to get rid of.
And they don't do much except eat and fuck.
That's it. Yeah. And the problem with it is they're smart. They really are.
Yep.
They're smart.
When I watch them, it seems like they're in groups of maybe, some of them might be 5, but then there's no more than like 10 or 12 of them. But then they're all together and all hunched down, and them guys do it with them big guns at nighttime, and they have to sneak up on them. But then they all hunker down like that guy's going to drive by us. Watch, he's going to pass us. And then
usually the only time you see the male hog there is when there's a sow that's in estrus, which is most of the time is in heat, and and the male usually only join the sounders in order to breed, and they're there for a little or to fight off other male hogs so they can have the privilege of breeding, and then they usually separate after they're through with all that. And what you usually have is a female sow leading a bunch of piglets in cooperation with some other sows. That's where you get the sounders. They call them sounders, and they're like, usually headed by a couple of sows, 2 or 3 female sows. You say about 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 piglets trailing along behind them.
The growth rate, once you said that 3 times a year they can do it. The
3 litters.
I think they get up to maybe 25, 30 pounds. Some of them 40 pounds.
Are you kidding? We take the big sow we take is about 250. That's usually a male boar. 250. I'll take 250. Now that's not as big as domestic pig can get. Wait, that's not as big as the domestic pig can get. But I'm telling you, they're lean at that weight. They're 250 pounds of lean muscle.
Yeah,
lean. They're lean. I'm telling you. And like a female sow could be 150 to 175.
Holy shit! I didn't realize they were that big because when I'm watching it, the guys are in them trucks, and they're driving by them so fast and shooting them. They don't stop and pick them up and look at them. They just mow them down. So I'm thinking,
you ought to see them, man. No. They get up to like I said, males get 250, 300. I've heard some get bigger than that. They're kind of rare, but 250 is not that uncommon for a male wild boar. And like for females, 150, 175 is certainly common.
That is scary. What's the life expectancy of one of those things without being hunted?
5 or 6 years, 7 or 8 years, something like that.
Right. Oh, Mike, can you imagine looking out your front door and there's one standing snorting 250 pounds? It'd be like,
man, I'm telling you, with them big ass tusks. You got to see the tusks on a male boar, man. The tusks on them things are vicious.
Yeah, they get curled up. That's how they keep the ground up so easily is with them tusks.
Well, usually they kind of project out the sides of the mouth at a diagonal, on a diagonal thing. Because I think the ones you're talking about, the curled up ones, are like the warthogs in Africa. Those are the ones that do that. Got that.
They're ugly no matter what. There's not a good thing about them.
No, they ain't graceful, man. But another thing that's scary about when you got to shoot them, they got a gristle. They got like the gristle area behind their shoulders, armor plate.
That's right. You got to get behind the blade to kill them.
Right. It did reliably kill him. You got to get a bullet that's going to hold together, big enough to punch through it and get to the heart and the lungs.
Yeah, I heard that guy talking about that because he was trying to. One of the guys was using a shotgun, and he goes, "Listen," he goes, "We gotta get close enough where I can at least shoot him in the back, in between the shoulder blades." I thought,
even 00 buck, I wouldn't rely on 00 pellets to punch through that gristle. A slug now, you get a high velocity slug, 1,600 feet per second. That'll do the trick. But you got to relatively close, within 50 yards or 100 yards to do it. Really, the kind of rifle that I was hunting in the last time I went out, I had an AR-10 chambered in .308, 7.62 by 51 NATO. The bigger round. Right, yeah. That's what I was using to hunt the boar, and that would put them down. And you can put them down 150, 200 yards, easy.
I think the last one I watched was about a week ago. A guy had a nice 300 blackout that he was using. Man, I'll tell you what, that's a good-looking gun.
Yeah, but you got to get to about within 150 to be reliable with the because 300 blackout is a good round. It fires the same bullet as the 308, but the problem is that it's got less powder behind it because the cartridge is only 35 millimeters in length. Whereas you take a 7.62 by 51 NATO, 51 millimeters in length, you got a lot more powder behind it, you get more velocity, and you can more reliably punch through that cartilage. So if you're going to use 300 blackout, and I was using 300 blackout for a while, I was using a 123 grain shot, and I had this B-tip and this Hornady X round that was pretty good. But you got to get within 150 yards and less in order to be sure you're going to punch through that cartilage in the shoulder.
Right.
With a 308, man, you can get them at 200 yards, easy 250, 300 with a scope. You can pick them all day long.
It would definitely be very, very good training for all the servicemen, even the cops, to go out there and just have their hands on their guns and get to go through the motions and to shoot. Man.
I'm telling you, I think it'd be great training for guardsmen to go out there. You just pick a unit, one of them every month, and rotate them through hog hunting. I'm sure there'd be some protests about it. But look, if you're going to go hunt hogs, all you got to have is a license. Year-round, you could take hogs. There's no limit. There's no limit on the kind of weapon. As long as you can legally own the weapon, you can hunt the damn hog with it. So there's no limit on magazine capacity or anything else. They're trying to get rid of these things. They understand the only way to do it is with policies that eradicate and exterminate them. They're not considered game animals. Although they are worthy game animals because they're so big, fast, smart, and strong. But they're not considered game animals, although if there weren't so damn many of them, they would be considered a game animal.
So they won't migrate. They stay down where it's warm. So I was thinking, what happens when they get a bad cold or say it does freeze down that way? They probably just about, because I know they got short, thin hair, but they got thick skin.
Well, they can live in the cold, but they definitely like the warm climate. That's where they're going to move to.
So they're not going to hang. How far do we have them up this way?
They're pretty much concentrated in the southwest and the south with this hog problem. It's not that big a problem in the northerly climes. They're in California, they're in Arizona, they're the southern part of the United States from coast to coast. It's a problem.
Can you imagine trying to cross the desert and hear a bunch of them sons of bitches behind you? Where are you going to hide at?
I don't think there's that much of a problem in the desert regions. I haven't heard anybody say hogs are a problem in it because they really are rooting animals, and they like to root in areas where there's, the kind of legumes and things that grow on the ground. That's why they tear up crops so bad, because they like to root. Right. And there's nothing to root for in the desert. I think there's a couple species that live in the desert, but they're not a problem because they don't breed that much.
Where's Joe at? What are you doing, Joe? Sleeping?
Joe is chilling, man. He's chilling. I'm just glad to hear that he didn't get caught up and washed away in the flood.
No shit. How about everybody's phones having problems in the last couple of days? Blog Talk works today after they have a hell of a storm and there's people going down the river. But Blog Talk's good to go. But any other time, they'll just turn it off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, I got to get ready to watch this debate, man. I'm going to watch this debate because I want to see. Look, one thing about it doesn't matter whether you like J.D. Vance or not. The man is very good on his feet. He expresses himself very well. He's quite articulate. I mean,
he's not going to be 100 years old.
Yeah, so I don't want to see him go up against this hyperbolic waltz who runs around like he's got ADHD. You know. So and this guy Waltz, man, he's a piece of work, man. Who the fuck lies about taking trips to Red China?
You know what?
Think about it for a minute. According to all these press reports, they'll be able to show that he was not in Tiananmen Square or anywhere around it when they had the riot. And he said he was. He says now it looks like he's only been to Red China 15 times instead of 30. But he's been there 15 times.
They've been, since Biden's been...
Who lies about going to Red China?
50 years of Biden lying, he's got some good grooming.
Yeah, but why would you lie about going just to Red China? You're not a diplomat.
He is a diplomat. He's a big time diplomat over there. He's probably got all kinds of diplomatic shit going on.
Oh man, yeah, Red China got him in their pocket. He's the governor of a major state. No telling what kind of shenanigans they got going on with him.
Yeah, man. You know what? It's just
Red China, man. This guy, his ideal state is communist China. He's praised the Chinese communist government. Him and that crazy wife he is.
Oh, God.
Those two are a piece of work, man.
Sometimes I turn on the news and I see who's coming up or they're promoting what's coming up, and then I'm just like, I can't do it. I just can't watch it. I just can't do it. I just had dinner and I don't sit to my stomach.
Man, this clown show, I swear, these Democrats, man, is the biggest fucking clown show I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Kamala Harris? President of the United States?
Yeah.
This has got to be some kind. I mean, this is like some hallucinatory dream. Even considering the possibility.
Let's give it. It ain't a dream. It's a fucking nightmare.
Now, when people talk about a movie and a script, now that's a movie and a script. That's just out of the realm of possibility. This dunce, and like I said, what gets me about her is not so much. Look, Hillary Clinton was every bit as much of a radical leftist as she is, and even more ruthless. But at least she had a kind of intelligent coherence behind the evil that she wanted to do.
Well,
I wouldn't say I would never call Hillary Clinton silly and vacuous and vapid. Evil, diabolical, yeah, ruthless, yeah, but never that, because she wasn't. Kamala Harris she got this dark vision for the United States, but she's so casual and breezy about it all. You know? I mean, she'll sing like, you talk about private health care. We just need to get rid of it. Well, how we got to get rid of it? She don't even know how. She just said we got to get rid of it.
She'll laugh.
She'll laugh about it.
Yeah,
free speech,
That's even more evil than Hillary, because Hillary will give you a reason.
Yeah.
Kamala's like, I ain't got to tell you a fucking thing.
I ain't got to tell you nothing. You should understand. You should just be able to impute it. We just need to get rid of it. Well, why would they get rid of it, Madam Vice President? Well, I don't know. It'll just bring people joy.
Right. We'll figure it out later.
I mean, it's like tyranny with a velvet glove, a stupid velvet glove, a silly velvet glove with beads.
You're going to get a prostate exam.
It's an iron fist and a velvet glove, The iron fist and a velvet glove with beads and pretty little things on it. It's so stupid. Man, I mean, this woman is frightening in her vapidity and the extent to which she was willing to control us.
I had somebody ask me the other day, they said, have you ever, or can you remember a time like now where when this stuff came up with the presidential election and that, almost you knew when the debates were going to be. You just didn't know where they were going to be at, what city was going to host them, but you knew they were going to be on the calendar. So much has just been pushed to the side. They do what they want to do, and they are catering to everything except this country. And people just go right with it. Oh, well, we got to deal with Ukraine. We got to deal with Israel. You got a presidential election coming up that's probably the most important one of all times. And you don't give a shit. You're worried about what these guys are going to do over there right now? Let them do what they're going to do. They're going to do it anyway. But no, we'll send our troops all the hell over the place, scatter them out. Send all them transgender, all them queers and them fags and say, hey, let's get in the boat and let's go.
Yeah.
The lasagna don't get any on you.
And we ain't ready for it. And what's worse is we're not ready for it. Do you realize the whole active duty Army is smaller than the size of the troops we had deployed in Vietnam at its peak?
I've heard that.
The whole thing. Yeah, the Vietnam era, the Army alone was about 3.5 million personnel. We had 550,000 at its peak in Vietnam. The whole active duty Army today, I believe, is 568,000. I mean, that's the biggest single branch of the armed forces of the Army, and it's less than 600,000 active duty personnel.
And we were talking about, I think it might have been 6 months ago, where we heard that they were going to bring up, like, say, lance corporals or whatever, and they were promoting all these people that did not fit the positions they were going to be promoted to lead. And it went to nobody said a word after that. It got quiet. And these are the ones that are leading our Army, the ones that are ill-prepared.
Well, we know it. It's because diversity, equity, and inclusion. They dropped all the standards. I mean, it'd be different if you had a really high-quality Army where they had absolutely the best in every position. That's not the case. The Army is more wedded to diversity, equity, and inclusion than it is excellence and merit. And that's what it used to be all about. The Army used to be about, the armed forces was about excellence. At least it strove for it. It never said in a mission statement, our mission, first and foremost, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. The mission used to be mission readiness and excellence and merit and promotion on merit. That was the ideal. Now the ideal is diversity. And you know what? They give lip service to the idea of excellence. And that's it.
I got one for you, Sarge. You'll like this one. Cook County, Chicago. You know you're familiar with that place, aren't you?
Unfortunately, yes.
The impound of cars that are impounded for whatever reason, I think they get 23 days. And if you don't pay your fees and whatnot and get your car, then Cook County takes possession of it. Usually, they either smash them and get the scrap, or they'll resell them. They have been caught giving these vehicles to the Venezuelan gang members. Can you fucking believe it?
Why am I not surprised?
Holy shit.
You know what? Venezuelan gang members are probably among the targets of their largesse. Somebody's probably just making a bunch of money on the side, selling illegally. You know, because that's when you confiscate a car, that's county property. And it's supposed to be disposed of in accordance with county regulations and state law. But somebody's probably figured out a way to divert some of those vehicles, sell them for private gain, and to pocket the money, or either divert it somewhere else and then launder it back to the people who they want the money to go to. And among those people probably are gang members.
But yeah, well, they know that the gang members are getting it, but now they're trying to figure out who in the system has decided to start targeting people for that specific reason. Like if they know they can find a car or get a car, and a person gets locked up and they don't get their car out, there's nothing you can do about it. That car is going to be taken. And then these sons of bitches are given to the gang members. Some guy went down there, it was how it started, I saw it. He's like, I got out of jail. I knew I had one day to get my my Tahoe out. He goes, I go down there, my Tahoe's gone. And they're like,
how much time you say they got to get it out when they impound it?
I think it's 23 days after the first day. They have to pay a $150 impound fee, and then I think it's $23 a day, and they can keep it for 23 days. So on the 24th day, they can actually take possession of it. Something like that.
Well,
you're accruing that money, and if you have a car worth $500, if it's in there 23 days, you ain't even fucking worth paying for it.
Now, when they dispose of that money's supposed to go back to the county treasury.
They're giving,
that's where it's supposed to go.
They can't even read English fucking street signs, and they're giving them cars to drive.
I mean, the cars they have, because the county's always had an auction of cars that were confiscated and impounded. They've always done that.
Lots they have, right? Like 3 big lots.
Yeah. And I mean, when I had my auto repair shop, man, we used to go there and bid on cars that had been impounded. You know, they had an auction. You go there and you pay the fee, or and you stand in line and bid on cars, and you get some damn good deals on some late model cars too.
Just like my dad used to buy U.S. Marshal seized cars, and I had a 2006 Jaguar XKR Victory Edition car that they only made 5,000 of them. The fucking car cost $115,000 new. My dad bought it for $25,000 at that auction.
Yeah.
It was only 4 years old. Drug dealer, it was seized. They seized the estate and everything from some drug dealer.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good deal for some people, but man, I don't like the way they impound a lot of people's cars these days. I don't like it at all.
No, that's what they're kind of concerned about, because the people there's more impounding going on than there ever has been, and there's a reason for it. And they're trying to say, we can't be doing this shit. I mean, it's gotten bad. People don't realize how fucking bad it is until it knocks on their door and kicks them in the nuts. I'm firm believer.
I know. I don't like the idea of making cops revenue collectors for the state. It's not what they're supposed to do. I can understand it on certain limited cases, but now a lot of these jurisdictions look at making cops into revenue collectors for the state. That's not right.
That gives it a bad look, bad look, because now you're not only having a hard time of being accused of police brutality, but now you're coming to steal my car. Oh, crime!
My property. Yeah.
What am I doing with my kids? Trust me, it won't be long before we hear of a serious accident with the people involved, where some jackass got one of them cars and just blows through a crowd or something, and kills 2 or 3 people in a car, and they'll be like, "Well, how did he get his car?" And it'll come to the surface.
Where are all these Haitians getting these cars and getting all these accidents with? And they're getting accidents almost every day, it seems.
I just had 2 buddies come back from Springfield in Ohio, and they said that when they got here, though they came in, he said there was about 3,500 to 4,000 came in a 4-week span, but they received $10,000 cash, and they were permitted to get their housing and a car. That's what they had to do with it. For somehow reason, that's what they told them. But the thing was, it was to buy all the property up, because these guys from BlackRock and Vanguard went down there. They bought all these slum houses up, and when you had a 4-bedroom house, instead of that being 4 people, 4 individuals staying in that house, they rented it out to 4 families as 4 homes. That's what the price they're getting out of them. They give them our tax money. Then the sons of bitches charge them our tax money, and they put it in their pocket twice.
This stinks. This really stinks, man. I don't know how the American people can't keep putting up with this, man.
Shit show.
Yeah, and you got to understand that with the Democrats pushing the cost minimum wage up, businesses, especially big businesses, are going to find a way to mechanize and roboticize a lot of these lower level tasks. And then what's going to do with all these illegal aliens that were brought here to do the jobs while they're making the transition to that? They're not going to be able to have a job. They're going to be part of the great new criminal class. Because they're going to be here with nobody to hire them to do anything, as they continually mechanize and roboticize the industrial force.
I believe
this is insane. This is just insane.
They are hell-bent on building these underground bases, and there's several of them. And I believe that a lot of these migrants have been taken to these areas to work, labor, and then are told they can be let out into the country on top of the ones that they're bringing in. And, they're not, some of these people aren't even just walking across the border. They're actually getting on a plane in Venezuela and landing in Cleveland. Direct flight, straight to. Don't stop, don't pass go, don't do nothing, because they have the app on the phone, the CPB2 app. I got it on my phone because I wanted to see it. And they can register. They don't have to speak to an ICE agent, DHS, none of them. They set it all up on their phone. And by honor, mind you, by honor, these people that they've let out of prison, they have murdered, raped, whatever else they've done, on an honor system to come into this country and show up for court in 10 years. That's as early as they can get if they plead that they are under, what the hell's the word I'm looking for, when they come in the asylum. As long as they do that.
They either get asylum or they get temporary protected status, some kind of legal fig leaf to make them legal. And the net effect of all of this is the same effect as uncontrolled illegal immigration. It's all a fig leaf, and I get sick of them telling me, sick to death of them telling me, well, they're here illegally, like that's supposed to make a difference. It makes it worse because the government can now openly give them money and aid.
And everybody your age, my age, that thought that you were going to get some Social Security money, it's slowly dissipating.
And if you look at Kamala Harris's votes on defense and on increases of salary for members of the armed forces and for veterans benefits, she has voted against every single increase. Every single one when she was a senator in the United States. Every time it came up for appropriations, she always voted against it. This is the woman who wants to give illegal aliens your tax money because, welcome and love the diversity. This woman is a biatch like I've never seen.
I just can't. Man, it's so. It hurts to know that I'm going to go out into public and have to look at people that they don't give a fuck. They don't care if you're dead. They don't care if they kill you. They have no respect for anything. They have no civility. And to think of my dad and my grandpa, what they fought for. And it's
wait a minute.
To see how these people act. It makes me want to fucking just go get gasoline and burn it all in the fucking ground.
Wait a minute. I got another little tidbit for you. The state of Minnesota, Governor Walz's state, yes, Tim Walz's state, where he is the governor, the city of Minneapolis is bragging about how they have hired a Muslim woman, a Somali Muslim woman wearing a hijab, as a non-citizen. She's legally resident, but she's a non-citizen. She is, now get it straight now, she's legally resident. She got a formal legal resident status, but she's not a citizen. And Minneapolis just hired her as a police officer, and they're bragging about it. How wonderful it is that they got a non-citizen woman, hijab-wearing Muslim Somali woman as a police officer, and how wonderful it all is.
That state is the cesspool that we could call the mirror image of California.
Yeah.
That is a fucking dump.
And the two of them together will turn the United States into a combination of Minnesota and California. Can you imagine that? Well, they'll do their best to try to do it.
You know what? I swear to God, Sarge, I would move south. I would go into Mexico, or I will go to Canada. I swear to God. I'm not going to live under the tyranny of these fucking degenerates. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to abandon my country until it's the last resort. But I'll tell you what, it don't look good. It does not look good the way it's positioning itself all around. Where you have Minnesota, you have California, Texas seems like it's burned. They're not much going on out of Texas. I don't hear anymore. Nothing.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Well, wait a minute now. Do you realize that Texas is one of the reasons why they're saying the border crossings are down, and they're not giving Texas any credit for it at all? They're saying it's because now all of a sudden they're cracking down on the border. No, it's because Texas has done so much to close the border down. That's why most of it was coming through.
Trying people.
You would think Texas has nothing whatsoever to do with the lowered number of border crossings. I mean, nothing. They don't even mention Texas.
It's unbelievable.
When was the last time you heard anybody in the mainstream press give Governor Abbott any credit whatsoever, even a scintilla of it, for the reduced number of border crossings?
When's the last time you saw a press conference down there? 6 months ago?
I don't know.
They might have
But
been.
he's got troops on the border. He's put up concertina wire. He's patrolling it. He's arresting them and detaining them. And then, he knows that the Department of Justice backed off on it because they know his policy is popular. And they backed off on their threats of what they were going to do to Texas if they didn't stop. They just pretended Texas doesn't exist. And it has nothing to do with making the situation any better.
And then they sue him.
They got to back off on that, though, because they know the policies are popular with the American people, and they don't want to bring that attention back to Kamala Harris and the regime. So now they can use the success of Texas to take credit for the reduced number crossing the border. See how diabolical they are?
Oh, yeah. And with that Declaration of North America Pact that Biden went down there and made a deal with Trudeau and that guy before this lady that's in there now, they seem like they're very complicit with, they want to say, well, we want to stop the fentanyl coming in, but yet it gets here. The Mexican army, them guys don't stop it. We know they're directly a cartel involved. That's a wash, and it has been a wash for 25 years. So has this all been set up to actually be the ultimate in opioid trade, the drug trade, because it hasn't stopped? And if you look in Afghanistan, you look everywhere we've been, we're following a drug route, chasing and trying to contain and keep control of the opium trade all over this planet.
And have you seen the lies that Biatch is constantly telling about the border bill that she says Trump quashed? You know what? I don't think Trump had as much to do with killing that bill as people finally reading the damn thing. Because even when it was first brought up as a bill, the few Republicans supported, they were like Cheney, Mitt Romney, Liz Murkowski, the usual suspects you expect to see do it. And yes, they voted for it and to get out of committee and come to the floor for a vote. But when they could receive the specifics of the final version of the bill in the Senate, even they had to abandon that motherfucker. Because there was so much in there that was so bad, even the only Republican vote they got for that in the Senate was Murkowski. She was a lone holdout. They got one Republican vote for it in the Senate, and then they had the nerve to try to call that a bipartisan bill. One Republican.
It's unbelievable.
And then when you look what's in the bill, you look at the things that are in it: pathway to citizenship, legalizing up to 50,000 illegal aliens a month before there's a requirement to close the border, and even then, it's optional for the Department of Homeland Security and the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. It's not mandatory. It's optional. He can decide to do it if he feels like it. It would have legalized 2.5 million illegal aliens a year.
Do you know how many still come across?
Legalized to it, that's what it would be. And that's not counting the gotaways.
Right.
Because the gotaways, look, most of the people who come across the border want to surrender because they know they're going to be processed in the country.
All right, guys.
They surrender so they can be processed into the country by the Border Patrol. But the gotaways are the ones with the criminal record because they don't want to be encountered and they don't want to have their background and their names checked or their fingerprints taken. They don't want that.
They're going to cut you off in about 2 minutes, Sarge.
All right, well, I'm almost finished. When they get away, those are the ones who are more likely to be criminal than even the ones that come across the border and surrender to Border Patrol. And it's 2 million of them under the Biden administration that they never encountered and never even checked.
8,500 still a day come across.
It's insane.
Wow.
8,500 still. Sometimes 10,000. It depends. And I don't even hear them talk about the northern border. I don't even know there's some coming, but I mean, what the fuck? I believe it's all the drug trade. I'm a firm believer now. They're chasing after this opium because they declared war on the drugs back in whenever. And
how do you declare war on your own people? How do you do that?
I mean, everybody.
Because you want to replace them. They're not compliant. They're not doing what you want. They're not obeying the mandates of the New World Order. They've got to be, but they don't know what's good for them.
Is Lori still in the chat room? Lori still in the chat room? I don't know if she's still there or not.